Stop. Don't take another step. That's what my motorbike driver said to me, just seconds before I almost slipped toward an 800-meter drop. I'm standing at the northernmost edge of Vietnam. No phone signal, no guardrail, just rock, clouds, and this strange feeling that I'm about to see something that 99% of Vietnamese people have never witnessed with their own eyes. This is Lung Cú. But wait, the administrative map changed just a few months ago. This entire region is now officially part of a different province. Can you believe that? Stay with me for the next 20 minutes. I promise you're not going to want to skip ahead.
All right, let me explain exactly where I am. Because, honestly, even a lot of Vietnamese people would probably have to open Google Maps to check. We're in Tuyên Quang province, but not the Tuyên Quang you may have heard of before. In 2025, Ha Giang province was merged into Tuyên Quang, creating a much larger province. That means this legendary rocky highland region, Lung Cú, Dong Van, and Meo Vác, is now located within the new administrative boundaries of Tuyên Quang. Even the names sound like an adventure. Quan Ba, Lung Cú, Dong Van, Meo Vác, the Dong Van Karst Plateau, Ma Pi Lang Pass, the Happiness Road, Cao Vai Love Market. Every one of those names evokes the same image: towering mountains, endless fields of stone, and a landscape so wild that it seems to challenge the limits of human courage. And I'm going to take you through this entire journey in exactly the order I experienced it.
839 steps. Yes, I counted. I'm not kidding. But when you finally reach the top and look down from Lung Cú Flag Tower in what is now Lung Cú Commune, you understand why this place is often seen as the rooftop of Vietnam's far north. Look down there. Tiny villages clinging to the mountainsides. It's almost unbelievably peaceful. This is Vietnam's northern frontier. If Ca Mau Cape is where the country reaches out toward the vast open sea in the south, then this region, formerly part of Dong Van district in Ha Giang province, forms one of the highest and most dramatic points on the map of Vietnam. And here's the number that shocked me. About 85% of this landscape is rock. Not hills, not farmland. Rock.
Ragged limestone formations stretch all the way to the horizon. And that raises one obvious question. How do people survive here? That is exactly the question I carried with me throughout this journey. What makes the Dong Van Karst Plateau, today covering areas including Dong Van, Lung Cú, Pho Bang, and Sa Phin, so extraordinary is not only its geology, dramatic landforms, or spectacular scenery, recognized by UNESCO as a global geopark. It is also the people. 22 ethnic groups have lived across this region for generations. The Hmong, the Lolo, the Dao, the Phu La, the Bo Yi, and many others. Each community has developed its own way of living, farming, and adapting to one of the harshest environments in Vietnam. From the center of Dong Van Commune, travel about 20 kilometers north, and you arrive at Lung Cú, one of the northernmost areas of the entire country. Look at a map of Vietnam. See that pointed section at the very top, almost like the peak of a hat? That's where I am, almost 1,800 meters above sea level. And honestly, I don't know how to describe this place properly. Standing here feels like floating somewhere between the mountains and the sky. White clouds fill the horizon. Some drift above you, others move below your feet. They wrap around the mountains and around you like living mist. This is why I do this job.
Here in Lung Cú, two of the major ethnic communities are the Hmong and the Lolo. And the Hmong have a historical story here that made me stop and film an entire section just about them. Nearly a century ago, a powerful Hmong family named Vuong rose to prominence in this region. Its leader was Vuong Chinh Duc, an influential figure who controlled much of the surrounding highland area and became widely known among the Hmong as the Hmong King. To symbolize his power, he built an imposing residence with numerous rooms, standing dramatically against the barren rocky plateau. If you've ever heard of the Vuong family mansion, that's the place I'm talking about. But behind that story of wealth and power lies another story. For generations, Hmong communities struggled against poverty in a land dominated by stone. And this is the part I really want you to listen to, not the scenery.
For many years, hunger and poverty weighed heavily on communities here. But development programs have helped many Hmong and Lolo families begin a new chapter. Some moved down from the highest slopes and established new settlements closer to the foot of the mountains. They reclaimed land. They expanded farming. They no longer relied only on planting corn between cracks in the rocks. Today, they grow a wider variety of food crops and raise cattle, including animals used for agricultural work. Right beneath Lung Ku Flag Tower is a small village where 100% of the residents are Hmong. The community is taking part in rural development programs. Old dirt and stone paths have gradually been replaced by concrete roads reaching right up to people's homes. One local resident told us, "After Tet, around February, we begin planting corn. These days, there are also programs encouraging forest planting and rural development. We are very happy about that. Our village has 118 people, and all of us are Hmong." Can you hear it? That pride in his voice. This is not a story about poverty. It is a story about resilience. Almost every Hmong girl here traditionally learns how to grow flax, weave fabric, and make her own clothes. The intricately patterned linen is not simply beautiful, it is cultural identity, passed from one generation to the next. Around August, we harvest the flax and weave fabric to make clothes for women. The white skirt represents women who love and care deeply for their husbands and children.
3/4 of Lung Ku is covered in rock. Life here can seem incredibly fragile. And yet life at Vietnam's northern frontier is anything but empty. And if you talk about the spiritual culture of the Hong, you cannot ignore the sound of the ken, the traditional Hong reed pipe. The ken is more than a musical instrument. It is a bridge between the living, the spirits, and the ancestors. In funeral traditions, its sound helps guide the deceased back toward their origins. And in love, it becomes a young man's message to the woman he hopes to win. Generation after generation, the sound of the ken has remained part of Hong cultural life. Now we come to my favorite part of this entire journey, because this feels like stepping into a chapter of history that has never been completely decoded. Alongside the Hung, Lung Ku is also home to the Lolo people. No one knows with absolute certainty when the Lolo first arrived here. Some historical accounts suggest that early groups migrated into Vietnam around the 12th century, with another wave arriving around the 17th century. Today, there are two main groups, the Black Lolo and the Flower Lolo. Their traditional clothing is different, but they share the same language and many cultural customs. Today, Lolo Chai Village is home to the Black Lolo community. One resident told us, "The Lolo have lived here for many generations. Life used to be very difficult, but since around the year 2000, conditions have improved considerably." Agriculture remains the main source of livelihood. Corn, rice, beans, and other crops. The harsh climate is one of the greatest challenges. Extreme cold can kill livestock in large numbers. But education has made remarkable progress. Today, nearly all children from kindergarten through 9th grade have access to school. And this next detail gave me chills. For the Lolo, bronze drums are sacred treasures, but the way they preserve them is unlike anything I had encountered before. When the drums are not being used, they are buried underground. They are only brought out for important ceremonies, religious rituals, weddings, or funerals. Lolo marriage customs are equally distinctive. The maternal uncle plays an especially important role throughout the wedding process, from marriage negotiations to dowry arrangements. And to this day, the community continues to strongly uphold the tradition of monogamous marriage. Every Saturday morning, the area below Lung Ku Flag Tower becomes lively with the weekly Lung Ku market. People don't come only to buy and sell. They come to see friends, to socialize, to show off a newly embroidered skirt, a new scarf, something made by hand.
But there is another story here, a quieter one, and I think you should know it. Lung Ku Primary School currently has 31 classes and 446 students between the ages of 6 and 14. But the children face three major challenges: long periods of cold weather, a still difficult local economy with a poverty rate of more than 60%, and the long distances many children must travel between home and school. To address this, the school developed a semi-boarding model supported by local communities. Children who live far away can stay at the school during the week, eating and sleeping there until classes are finished. Look into their eyes, and you'll understand why this journey changed the way I see this place. Hagang, the region that is now part of the newly expanded Tuyn Quang province, is home to 22 ethnic groups. Each one contributes an irreplaceable piece to the cultural identity of this land. Lung Ku rises dramatically from layers of cold gray limestone. For generations, Hmong and Lolo communities here have shared precious water from Dragon Eye Pond, a place associated in local tradition with the origins of the name Lung Ku. If you asked me where in Vietnam I have felt smallest in front of nature, and at the same time where I have felt the greatest faith in human resilience, this would be my answer. If this video makes you want to grab a backpack and come here yourself, hit like, subscribe, and leave the words Lung Ku in the comments below. See you in the next video.